Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we are diving into something super interactive, mouse events in Angular. Whether it's a click, hovering, or moving your mouse around, Angular gives us a powerful tool to handle all of it easily. So if you are building a dynamic UI and wants to respond user actively, so this video is for you. So let's get started. So earlier I have created this home component. So let me just comment this out, and here I'm going to uncomment this app counter which I wanted for this video. Okay, let me save this, and if I go back, so as you can see, we have this counter app. Now let's go to the counter app.html, and I don't want this subtract and reset, so let me just comment it out, and let's keep only add. If I save this and if I go back, as you can see, we have this add. Okay, now let me just do a side-by-side view, so then it will be easy for us. Okay, so now we have this value. If I click, it works. Okay, so there are mouse events like double click, mouse over, mouse leave, mouse down. Okay, so we will see this one by one. So we already saw this click event. Okay, now we will see double click. So here I'm going to say DBL and then a click. Okay, so DBL click. If I save this and if I refresh it, so now if I double click, so the counter works. Okay, so it gets increment. Okay, on the double click. So I'm just double clicking it and it is working fine. So if I do a one click, it won't work, but if I do a double click, it will work. Okay, so this was the first mouse event, double click. Okay, then we have mouse over. So let me just type mouse over. Okay, if I save this, refresh it. So if I do a mouse over on it, on the button, so the counter is working. Okay, if I do a mouse over on the button, so that increment is working. So this was the mouse over event, and then we have the mouse leave. Okay, so let me just type it, mouse leave, and let's just refresh it. And once I'm on the button, so it won't add, so it won't increment, but if I leave, then only it will increment. Okay, if I come here, it won't increment, but if I leave the button, so it start increment. Okay, so this is mouse leave. Now what else we have? We have mouse down. Okay, so let's type mouse down, save this, refresh. Okay, so if I click, so it started incrementing. So what is the difference between click and mouse down? Okay, so once I click, it increment. Even on the click event, it does that. So what is the difference between click and mouse down? So what clicks does is it triggers when the mouse button is pressed and released. Okay, but in mouse down, it triggers immediately when the mouse button is pressed. Okay, it triggers immediately. It doesn't wait for the release of the button. Okay, so that is the difference between mouse click and mouse down. And even we have mouse up. Okay, so let me just say mouse up, save this and refresh. So now what is mouse up? Okay, it triggers when the mouse is when the button is released. Okay, so if I click and if I release the button, it increment. Okay, if I click and release the button, it's increment. Okay, if I click and release, it will start increment. Okay, so it does on the release of a button. Okay, so that is the difference between click, mouse down and mouse up. Then we have drag. Okay, so let me just type drag, and for drag we need to add draggable true. So draggable, that is going to be true. Save this, and if I refresh, so now if I drag the button, so it is started incrementing, and if I release, it will stop the increment. Okay, if I drag it here, it will start incrementing. So this is what drag does. Okay, then we also have drag over. Okay, so let me just type it, drag over, save this and refresh it. So what drag over does is, let's say if I drag this on this value, below this value, so it will start incrementing. But if I drag it here, it won't do it. Okay, if I drag it here, it won't increment. Okay, So as you can see, if I just do it here, it will start increment, but if I bring it down or somewhere else, it won't work. So that is the difference between drag and drag over. Okay. So let's take one h1 tag. Okay. And here I'm going to say increment. Okay. Increment, or you can just say add. And here I need the value. So val, I just want to add some classes. Let me just comment this out. Draggable, which will be through. Then I'm going to add a class. I'm just adding few fun stuff. Okay, so class will be cursor hyphen move and select hyphen one. Okay, and we need that event. So that is going to be drag over equals to add. Okay, save this. So now, okay, so as you can see, we have this. Okay, it is incrementing both the values. Okay, so if I'm keeping it here, okay, so both the values are getting increment. Okay, so that's a fun stuff. Okay, so you can just drag here on the value and it will start incrementing. So this was all about the mouse event which we have in Angular. So this is it for this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.